What's up YouTube, Dreamkiller coming at you in another video, and welcome to another episode of DK Talks, the show where I shoot the shit about the latest video game, latest movie I've seen, anything and everything will be talked about. And today I just got home from seeing the latest Underworld movie, Underworld Blood Wars, and I gotta tell you, man, I had a blast. This movie, by far, has been the best Underworld movie I've seen so far. Now, let me get started by my history with the Underworld series. I didn't get watching them. Like, they came around way before I was too young at the time to watch them, so I didn't get to watch them until maybe I was about 15 or 16. But I fell in love with them ever since. And where it stands, how I rank the movies, the first one is by far my favorite, followed by Rise of the Vikings, Awakening, and unfortunately the second one being my least favorite because it was kind of a bore when I watched it. The only thing that was a redeemable quality about the second one was that, sex scene, but pervert in me. I can't help it. But other than that, yeah, that's how I rank the movies, and I adore them with a passion. So of course I was super excited for another one to come out, whereas everyone else was kind of like they're still making those movies, and yes, they are still making those movies, but that does not mean that they rushed this movie anyway. They took their time with this movie, and they ended up being a pretty decent movie in my opinion. It's action packed. Not a whole lot of story. I mean, if you give a shit about Underworld's lore, then, it may disappoint you a little bit. I mean, they give you the synopsis so far through all the movies in this one scene at the beginning, but that's pretty much it. It's mostly all action and less talk. But for those people who are into that, who are just looking for a thrill-seeking, action-seeking movie, this is your movie. It's got vampires, werewolves, blood, and gore. It's got everything, and I enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised at how good this movie is, and in my opinion, it just might be just as good as the original movie, and that's saying something when I saying that my favorite movie is the original, and saying that this one is pretty almost at even with the first one. But let me start off by saying this. Of course, yes, there is story, even though I said there's very little of it. So if you have not seen this movie yet, please go see it. I highly recommend it for any Underworld fan and for anyone that's not an Underworld fan. If you see this movie, you might be interested in looking at the previous movies. I highly recommend go and see this movie. It is very action-packed, and you will enjoy how action-packed it is. So stop this video, go watch it, and come back. I'll be waiting for your viewership. So that being said, pretty much this movie takes place immediately after Awakening, where pretty much Celine is on the run. She's been cast as a pariah by both the vampires and the Lycan, and they all want her dead. But then they start realizing that they actually do need her because a new leader for the Lycans is pretty much mowing down all the vampire clans, and shit gets real for the vampires. But what you don't expect from this movie at all is how many twist turns that it does. There's so many twists, so many people betraying one another. It's very, very all of a sudden. I mean, most people would say, and they would see it coming a mile away, but maybe it's just me, but I really didn't see some of the betrayal, some of the twists and turns coming. It was actually quite a shock. And yeah, good guys become bad guys, some people become leaders, and ultimately it leads to Celine as a character coming full circle with her story, supposedly. I mean, the movie doesn't indicate whether this is supposed to be the final movie or not. It's kind of open-ended. It pretty much... So Celine supposedly dies, but then comes back, enlightened, and it leads to her defeating the new Lycan leader. And there's two clans left for the vampires, and they're pretty much sticking together to try to survive. And that's and also she becomes part of a big elder council now, um, and also, there's a whole thing with her daughter that, she can't find her. She doesn't want to find her, but in the end, they do meet. But it's kind of, it's at the very end. It's very few seconds, and then it's done. And also, we also find out what happens to Michael. We find out why Scott Speedman is still not in this movie, or why he wasn't in the previous one. He pretty much died. The new leader, Marius of the Lycans, pretty much blood drained him. There's a term for it. I don't know. It's bloodletting. They were bloodletting him, taking all his blood so he can use that hybrid blood, to empower him and make him all powerful and whatnot. And he pretty much bled him dry. And it's the big reveal that Michael was dead the entire time. So that's unfortunate. I was hoping maybe Scott Speedman will return for this movie, and to find out that his character has been dead all this time, it's kind of saddening. But it's a conclusion, and you feel the emotionalness of it with Celine being in love with him. It's very emotional, even though it kind of goes away for a short while. But that's a brief synopsis of the movie's plot. But to really know what you're getting into, you gotta go see the movie. It's, like I said, very action packed, and with little character development, little story, but it's well worth the price of admission. So that being said, I highly recommend you go see Underworld Blood Wars. Highly recommend it. Couldn't recommend it any more than I can now. So that's it. That's my review. Then, like I said, I just got back from it, and I wanted to get my thoughts on it as quickly as possible, because normally I wait like a couple of days before I do these things. But it's one of those things I felt like it needed to be done now, and also working on stuff for other videos that are coming up soon. So I had to get this out of the way, give my thoughts on how really good this movie was. So the movie gets a thumbs up for me. Go see it. You will not be disappointed. That being said, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, because my channel grows because of it, and subscribe, because as always, I have many more videos to come like this. Thank you all for watching once again. I'm Dreamkiller. Gamers keep on gaming, and Underworld fans keep on